As time passes, our bodies and minds evolve, and so does our view of the world. Aging isn't just a journey of physical change, it reshapes how we see ourselves and others. In this video, we explore 7 essential truths about aging that go beyond cliches. These insights are bold, practical, and transformative, designed to empower you with dignity, self-respect, and peace. Why watch until the end? Every point reveals a powerful way to strengthen relationships, redefine happiness, and reclaim self-worth. We'll uncover strategies to protect against manipulation, prioritize personal needs, and escape toxic influences. Together, we'll navigate how to release old regrets and embrace the wisdom that only life experience can offer. If living your golden years with purpose and joy matters to you, this is a must-watch. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on future videos. Your support helps us grow. If you find this helpful, like and share to spread these valuable lessons. Love this topic? Comment 1. Have ideas for improvement? Please comment below. Now, let's dive into the first life-changing tip. Tip 1. Age is a catalyst for reinvention. As time moves forward, it's tempting to believe the narrative, "I'm too old for that." Society often nudges us toward this conclusion, suggesting that change belongs to the young, and with age comes a slowing down, a stepping back. It's a belief that whispers we've missed our moment, leaving us to linger in the shadows of who we used to be. But this idea isn't just limiting, it's false. Age doesn't close doors, it opens them. Each year brings fresh layers of wisdom, perspective, and understanding. With experience comes clarity, and with clarity, we gain the power to make meaningful choices. The misconception that our prime has passed robs us of the most valuable gift life offers: the chance to grow, evolve, and begin again. Think about the opportunities we've dismissed because of self-imposed limits. Consider the hobbies we've shelved, the journeys we've postponed, and the dreams we've abandoned. These weren't lost because they were out of reach, but because we told ourselves they were no longer ours to claim. Yet age equips us with something extraordinary: resilience. We've weathered storms, learned from missteps, and built a foundation strong enough to support any new beginning. Pause for a moment and reimagine what's possible. What passions still ignite excitement? What skills remain untapped? What places or experiences have we yet to explore? These aren't the pursuits of someone too old. They're the rewards of someone who understands life's deeper value. Age isn't a limitation, it's a strength. It brings focus to what truly matters, freeing us from distractions that once held us back. It sharpens our resolve and deepens our appreciation for growth. When we lean into this perspective, we realize the possibilities before us are greater than ever. We aren't defined by a number. We're defined by how willing we are to embrace what's ahead. Whether we're 40, 60, or 80, every moment offers a chance to step forward. The belief that it's too late is nothing more than a barrier we create for ourselves. It's a wall that crumbles the moment we choose to challenge it. Let's shift the mindset. Let's see age not as the end of the road, but as the beginning of a new journey. With every passing year, we become more capable, more insightful, and more prepared to make the most of life. The best is not behind us, it's unfolding right now, waiting for us to seize it. Tip 2. Stop living to please others. This is one of life's hardest lessons, especially for those of us who have spent years placing everyone else ahead of ourselves. We pour our energy into supporting children, partners, and friends, believing that self-sacrifice defines love. But the truth is, constantly prioritizing others can leave us feeling trapped in a cycle of unspoken obligations. We give so much that our own dreams quietly slip away, lost beneath the weight of everyone else's expectations. Over time, this pattern can leave us feeling drained and unfulfilled. Have we ever paused to reflect on why, after all the love and effort we've given, we still feel incomplete? The answer lies in the endless demands that others place upon us. Family and friends often lean on us for help, be it emotional, practical, or financial, without stopping to consider our well-being. This leads us to an important question. Who is ensuring that our needs are met? At this stage in life, we must recognize that our happiness matters too. It's not just acceptable, it's necessary to shift the focus toward our own joy. After years of caring for others, it's time to rediscover what brings us fulfillment. Whether it's exploring new hobbies, traveling, or simply taking time to rest, reclaiming space for ourselves is vital. Daily advice to stop living to please others. 1. Morning intention setting. First thing after waking up, set a clear intention for the day. Instead of a to-do list, choose one word or goal that reflects your personal growth, like balance, peace, or self-care. How to practice. Reflect on this intention as you go through your morning routine, allowing it to guide your actions and decisions throughout the day. 2. Mindful listening. During conversations, especially with family or friends, practice active listening, but also be mindful of your own emotional response. Notice when a conversation makes you feel drained or uncomfortable. How to practice. Take a deep breath and, if necessary, politely excuse yourself from conversations that ask too much of you emotionally or mentally. 3. Say no without guilt. Anytime you're asked to do something that doesn't align with your needs, practice saying no without over-explaining or feeling guilty. Understand that saying no is an act of self-care, not selfishness. How to practice. When a request doesn't feel right, respond with, "I'm unable to commit to that right now, but I hope you understand." Keep it short and simple. 4. Lunch break recharge. During lunch, or whenever you can take a break, use this time to nourish not just your body, but your mind. Step away from any responsibilities and focus solely on your own well-being. How to practice. Go for a walk, listen to music you enjoy, or just sit quietly in a peaceful spot. Disconnect from the demands of others, even if just for a few minutes. 5. Evening personal reflection. After dinner or before winding down for bed, take 5 minutes to reflect on your day and ask yourself, did I honor my needs today? How to practice. Journal or simply sit in quiet thought, noting areas where you prioritized yourself and any moments where you could have done better. This practice builds awareness and progress. 6. Delegate without fear. When tasks arise that can be shared or delegated, be brave enough to ask for help or delegate tasks, whether at work or at home. Understand that others can manage their own responsibilities too. How to practice. Start small by asking for help with a simple task, or by letting go of something you typically take on yourself. Practice saying, "I need assistance with this today," and see how it feels. 7. Prioritize downtime. Any time during the day when you feel overwhelmed, carve out time in your schedule for nothing. No obligations, no requests, just a break to rest and reset. How to practice. Even if it's just 15 minutes, sit in a quiet space, read, or enjoy a favorite hobby without interruptions. Let this time be just for you, as a reminder that your peace is worth protecting. Choosing to prioritize our own peace doesn't make us selfish. It's an act of self-respect. It's about valuing the life we've built and nurturing the parts of ourselves that have been overlooked. By stepping away from the constant pressure to meet every demand, we allow ourselves to grow and thrive. This is our moment to reclaim the freedom to live on our own terms. Tip 3. Be willing to distance yourself from toxic people. We often hear that family bonds are sacred and unbreakable. But as we grow older, we begin to understand that not all connections are healthy. Sometimes the very people we are told to love unconditionally may bring negativity that weighs heavily on our emotional and mental well-being. Society teaches us to equate family with loyalty, urging us to tolerate behavior that diminishes our spirit. Yet, love is never an excuse to accept mistreatment or allow harm to linger in our lives. Picture this: a family member who constantly undermines you, criticizes you unfairly, or takes advantage of your kindness. It's easy to feel trapped in a web of guilt or obligation, torn between preserving the relationship and safeguarding your own peace. But aging gracefully isn't about carrying burdens that don't belong to you. It's about cherishing the tranquility and joy that you deserve. Setting boundaries, even with those closest to us, is not selfish. It is a powerful act of self-respect. Removing yourself from toxic situations isn't turning your back on family. It's choosing to honor the life you've worked so hard to build. Daily practices to help maintain healthy boundaries and protect your peace. 1. Start with a positive affirmation. Begin each day with an affirmation that reinforces your worth and boundaries. As soon as you wake up. How to practice. Speak or think affirmations such as, "I am worthy of respect and peace today." This sets the tone for a day of honoring your needs and maintaining healthy boundaries. 2. Be mindful of your energy. Pay attention to how certain people or activities affect your energy levels throughout the day. Midday, during moments of rest or break. How to practice. Notice when your energy drains or spikes. Use this awareness to decide whether to engage more deeply or step back, prioritizing activities and people who uplift you. 3. Set time limits for difficult conversations. Limit the amount of time you spend in difficult or draining interactions. When you know a conversation may be emotionally taxing. How to practice. Set a clear mental or physical timer for conversations. Politely end them when the limit is reached, saying something like, "I've enjoyed this conversation, but I need to step away now." 4. Daily digital detox. Disconnect from social media or digital communications that contribute to stress or negativity. In the evening, ideally 1 hour before bed. How to practice. Turn off your phone or put it on Do Not Disturb mode. Use the time to relax and unwind, focusing on activities that bring you peace, such as reading or meditating. 5. Practice compassionate detachment. Learn to emotionally detach from the actions and words of toxic people without harboring resentment. During challenging interactions, particularly with family members. How to practice. Practice detaching emotionally by reminding yourself, their behavior is not a reflection of my worth. Maintain a compassionate mindset without absorbing the negativity. 6. Engage in positive self-talk. Replace self-doubt with positive reinforcement whenever you uphold your boundaries. After a challenging interaction or decision to distance yourself from negativity. How to practice. Tell yourself, "I did the right thing for my mental health today." This reinforces your commitment to self-care and builds confidence in setting boundaries. 7. End the day with forgiveness. Let go of any emotional weight from the day by practicing forgiveness, both for others and for yourself. Before going to sleep. How to practice. Reflect on any negative interactions, release any resentment, and say, "I forgive myself for any moments of weakness and forgive others for their behavior. Tomorrow is a new day." This helps clear emotional clutter. 8. Journal your boundaries progress. Keep a journal to track your progress with setting and maintaining boundaries. End of the day or once a week. How to practice. Write about how you felt after setting a boundary or distancing yourself from toxic behavior. Reflect on what worked well and what could be improved, turning this into a tool for growth. We all have the right to surround ourselves with people who respect us, celebrate us, and help us thrive. Letting go of harmful relationships opens the door to deeper connections with those who genuinely uplift our hearts. Tip 4. Stop waiting for others to acknowledge your sacrifices. Life often demands that we set aside our dreams, ambitions, and even our deepest desires for the sake of others. Over the years, these sacrifices can pile up like quiet testaments to our love, dedication, or duty. It's natural to hope that someone someday will recognize and appreciate these acts of selflessness. Yet holding on to this hope can become a heavy burden, one that ties your happiness to the unpredictable approval of others. Let's release that weight. Waiting for someone else to validate your sacrifices diminishes the power of all you've given. It shifts your focus outward when the true measure of your worth lies within. Your contributions, your love, and the moments you gave of yourself without hesitation are already enough. Now is the moment to reclaim your energy and redirect it where it truly belongs, toward your own needs, dreams, and well-being. This is not a rejection of generosity, but a recognition that you, too, deserve care, attention, and joy. Turning inward isn't selfish. It's a profound act of love and respect for your journey. Mark had always been the dependable one. From a young age, he took on responsibilities most would shy away from. When his father fell ill, Mark put his dreams of studying architecture on hold to run the family business. Later, when his younger sister struggled with addiction, he became her rock, attending therapy sessions with her and helping her get back on her feet. Over the years, Mark's sacrifices piled up. He let go of career opportunities to stay close to home, delayed starting his own family to care for his aging mother, and even drained his savings to help relatives in financial trouble. He did all this quietly, never asking for recognition or expecting much in return. But deep down, Mark hoped someone would notice. A word of gratitude from his siblings, a nod of appreciation from his friends. Anything to affirm that his sacrifices mattered. Yet, the thanks he longed for never came. His siblings, caught up in their own lives, rarely acknowledged his efforts. Friends admired him, but assumed he was fine, never realizing how much he'd given up. One day, Mark's frustration boiled over during a family gathering. "Do you even realize everything I've done for this family?" he blurted out. His outburst was met with silence and awkward glances. The recognition he had hoped for felt hollow when it finally came, and Mark left the gathering feeling worse than before. That night, Mark had a realization. He had been waiting for others to validate his worth, but the truth was clear. Their acknowledgement wouldn't change what he had done or why he had done it. He started reflecting on his life, not through the lens of what others owed him, but through the pride he felt for standing by his values. Mark began making changes. He signed up for an evening architecture course, reigniting the passion he'd put on hold for decades. He took small steps to reclaim time for himself, joining a hiking group, reading books he loved, and spending weekends exploring new hobbies. His family noticed the shift. They admired his newfound confidence and respected his boundaries more. But Mark wasn't doing it for them anymore. Mark's story reminds us that waiting for validation can trap us in a cycle of disappointment. By valuing ourselves, we reclaim the power to live fully, not for recognition, but for the joy of being true to who we are. As we grow older, we are gifted with the wisdom to prioritize what truly matters. Choose to invest in a life that celebrates you, not for what you've sacrificed, but for the incredible strength and compassion you bring to the world. By honoring yourself, you also create a space where those who genuinely value you can thrive. Remember, self-respect is the foundation of a fulfilling life. It's time to stand tall in your own worth, not as someone waiting to be seen, but as someone who already knows their immense value. Tip 5. Embracing freedom by letting go of external validation. Life unfolds in ways that often leave us yearning for recognition. We quietly hope for a kind word, an acknowledgement of our efforts, or even a subtle gesture of gratitude. Whether it's the time we've devoted to others, dreams we've temporarily shelved, or energy we've poured into nurturing someone else's happiness, these sacrifices come with an unspoken hope that they'll be noticed. Yet the truth is unsettling. Sometimes, the thanks we long for never arrive. When silence meets our acts of care, it can feel like a void, raising doubts about our choices, relationships, and even our sense of self-worth. Yearning for validation can weigh us down. It's easy to fall into a pattern of expecting the world to mirror our sacrifices with appreciation. But relying on external acknowledgement ties our happiness to something fragile and unpredictable. When that recognition doesn't materialize, disappointment sets in. Disappointment can fester, transforming into resentment as we replay memories of unnoticed sacrifices. Over time, this resentment can strain relationships, eroding the very bonds we once cherished. Worst of all, it can make us question our own kindness, leaving us wondering if it was all for nothing. Here's a liberating truth. Your worth isn't determined by someone else's ability or inability to acknowledge your efforts. The sacrifices you make, the kindness you give, and the love you show define who you are. They speak volumes about your strength, your integrity, and the generosity of your spirit. These qualities are yours to celebrate, regardless of who notices them. Here's a story to bring this idea to life. Louisa was a dedicated teacher who poured her heart into her students. She stayed late after school to help struggling kids with math, spent her weekends organizing creative lesson plans, and even used her own money to buy supplies for those who couldn't afford them. She didn't mind the effort. She believed in her students and wanted to see them succeed. One year, Louisa took special care to help a shy girl named Emily. Emily struggled not just academically but socially. Louisa made it her mission to boost the girl's confidence, staying after class to tutor her and encouraging her to join a school play to come out of her shell. Over time, Emily's grades improved, and she began smiling more often. As the school year ended, Louisa watched as Emily thrived. Yet, when the last day of school came, Emily rushed out of the classroom without saying goodbye. Louisa felt a pang of sadness. She thought she might at least get a small note or a thank you from Emily or her parents. But none came. That evening, Louisa reflected on all the extra hours she had given, not just to Emily but to so many students over the years. Had it even mattered? The lack of acknowledgement weighed on her. For a brief moment, she wondered if she should stop trying so hard. But then a quiet truth surfaced. Louisa didn't teach for recognition. She did it because she cared. She believed in the power of kindness and the potential of every student, whether they acknowledged her efforts or not. Years later, Louisa received a handwritten letter in the mail. It was from Emily, now an adult. The letter explained how those small acts of kindness, staying late for tutoring, encouraging her to join the play, had changed Emily's life. "You made me believe in myself when no one else did," Emily wrote. "I've never forgotten what you did for me." Tears welled in Louisa's eyes as she read the words. She realized she had been right all along. The impact of her efforts wasn't diminished by the absence of immediate gratitude. The value of her work lay in the giving itself, in the love and care she offered freely. This story reminds us that our sacrifices, kindness, and dedication often have ripple effects we may never see. Louisa's peace didn't come from waiting for acknowledgement. It came from knowing she gave her best, driven by purpose and compassion. Recognition, when it comes, is just a bonus. The true reward lies in staying true to our values. To find true peace, we must free ourselves from the grip of external validation. This means valuing our actions because they reflect who we choose to be, not because of how others respond. By shifting our focus inward, we reclaim our power and rediscover the joy of living by our own standards. Letting go is not about giving up on others. It's about freeing ourselves. It's a declaration that our happiness is not conditional on external approval. When we honor our sacrifices for the love and values they represent, we find a lasting sense of fulfillment. In the end, the greatest acknowledgement comes from within. Knowing that we've stayed true to ourselves, no matter the response. Tip 6. Be mindful of who you trust. Trust is a gift, and as we grow older, its value only increases. While seeking meaningful connections is a natural and beautiful part of life, our desire for companionship can sometimes leave us open to harm. Aging often deepens our empathy and softens our defenses, making us more inclined to see the good in others. Unfortunately, not everyone who crosses our path has good intentions. Think of those who show up during your hardships, offering comfort and a listening ear. At first, it feels genuine. Yet, when your life takes a turn for the better, they disappear without a trace. These are not true friends. They are opportunists. They seek what they can take, your kindness, your resources, or even your sense of security. It's a hard truth to face, but recognizing it is the first step toward protecting yourself. Being mindful doesn't mean shutting people out or building walls too high to climb. Instead, it means opening your heart with wisdom. Observe how people treat you consistently, not just during moments of need. Patterns reveal more than words ever could. Genuine friends will show up not just in your struggles, but also in your successes. They won't drain you or overstep boundaries. They'll honor your peace and celebrate your happiness. Take time to reflect on the relationships in your life. Do they bring joy or weigh you down? Do they respect your limits or push them aside? We all deserve connections that nurture us and enrich our lives. The key is discernment. Protect your emotional and mental well-being by trusting selectively, setting boundaries, and listening to that inner voice that warns you when something feels off. Picture yourself years from now, looking back at the people who stood beside you through it all. True friends won't leave you questioning their intentions. They'll remind you that trust, when given wisely, brings peace and fulfillment. So, choose carefully, stay observant, and cherish those who prove their worth through actions, not just words. Daily advice to practice being wise about trust. 1. Morning reflection. Begin each day with quiet time for self-reflection. When? First thing in the morning, as you wake up. How to practice. Spend 5 minutes considering the relationships in your life. Ask yourself, who makes you feel valued? Who drains your energy? Set the intention to approach the day with mindfulness in your interactions. 2. Observe actions, not just words. Pay attention to how others behave consistently. When, throughout the day, especially during conversations or shared activities. How to practice. Take mental notes of people's actions. Do they follow through on promises? Do they show kindness without expecting something in return? Keep a small journal to jot down observations if necessary. 3. Set small boundaries. Practice saying no to things that feel overwhelming or uncomfortable. When, anytime you feel someone crossing emotional or personal boundaries. How to practice. Start with small situations. For example, if someone asks for a favor that feels too demanding, politely decline. Over time, this builds your confidence in maintaining boundaries. 4. Daily gratitude for genuine connections. What to do? Acknowledge and appreciate the people who uplift and respect you. When, during the evening, before winding down. How to practice. Write down or mentally list 2 or 3 moments from the day that reminded you of someone's care or support. It could be a kind message, a thoughtful gesture, or even a memory of a shared laugh. 5. Trust your instincts in the moment. Pay attention to your inner feelings during interactions. When, anytime you meet someone new or engage in deeper conversations. How to practice. Notice subtle signs, like feeling uneasy or overly drained after spending time with someone. Reflect on these moments and act accordingly. 6. Limit emotional oversharing. Be intentional about how much personal information you share. When, during conversations, especially with newer acquaintances. How to practice. Before revealing something personal, Pause and ask yourself if this person has earned your trust through consistent care and respect. 7. Weekly relationship check-in. Take time to evaluate the quality of your relationships. Once a week, perhaps on a Sunday evening. How to practice. Reflect on who added value to your life that week and who left you feeling drained. Use this as a guide for where to invest your energy going forward. 8. Practice compassion with discernment. Be kind but remain cautious. Anytime you feel inclined to help or support someone. How to practice. Offer assistance, but ensure it doesn't compromise your well-being. For example, if someone frequently asks for favors without reciprocating, it's okay to step back and reassess their role in your life. Tip 7. Let go of the past to embrace the present. The past holds a special charm. Memories of laughter, love, and dreams can feel vivid and comforting, like an old friend. They remind us of where we've been and how far we've come. Cherishing these moments is natural and even healing. But there's a difference between honoring the past and being bound by it. When we dwell too long in yesterday, we risk losing sight of today. Longing for better days or wishing to relive a specific moment creates a trap, one that feeds comparison and regret. It robs us of the chance to fully experience the present. Every stage of life is a new chapter, rich with potential. The past shaped us, yes, but it does not define us. Who we are is reflected in what we choose to do now. The future stretches before us, waiting to be written with new joys, new lessons, and new connections. Nostalgia need not be our refuge. Instead, let it inspire gratitude. Feel the weight of its beauty, but don't let it blur the view of what's ahead. Life continues to surprise us with gifts, unexpected encounters, meaningful moments, and opportunities for growth. What lies ahead could be the most extraordinary part of your journey. Step forward with hope, curiosity, and courage. Michael stood in his garage, surrounded by relics of a life he once lived. A dusty guitar leaned against a stack of old suitcases. Trophies from long-forgotten tennis matches sat on a shelf, their brass tarnished and dull. On the wall hung a faded photo of him and his college band, all wide grins and wild hair, frozen in a moment of glory. He ran a finger along the guitar strings, the sound brittle and unfamiliar. He hadn't played in years. Once, music had been his everything, a dream he chased with all his heart. But life, as it often does, had other plans. Marriage, kids, a career. The music had slowly faded into the background. Now, retired and widowed, Michael found himself retreating into those memories more often than he cared to admit. He'd sit for hours in the quiet of his living room, flipping through photo albums or replaying old records. He told himself it was enough, that the best of his life was behind him. One Saturday, his granddaughter Sophie burst into the garage, her face lit with excitement. "Grandpa, Mom said you used to play guitar. Can you teach me?" Michael hesitated, looking down at the guitar as if it were a stranger. "It's been a long time, Sophie. I'm not sure I even remember how." "Please," she begged, her eyes shining with hope. "I want to learn from the best." How could he say no to that? He picked up the guitar, wincing as the strings groaned under his fingers. The first few chords were clunky, awkward, but Sophie clapped like he was a rock star. "See, you still got it." They started with simple songs, Michael guiding her small hands over the fretboard. At first, it felt strange, like waking up muscles he hadn't used in decades. But as the weeks went on, something remarkable happened. The music returned, not just the sound, but the joy, the freedom, the spark he thought he'd lost. One evening, Sophie insisted they perform together for the family. Michael balked at the idea. "I'm too old for this kind of thing," he protested. "You're never too old, Grandpa," Sophie said firmly. "Besides, it's not about being perfect. It's about having fun." That night, as they played a simple duet in front of a living room full of cheering relatives, Michael felt something shift. For the first time in years, he wasn't just remembering his past, he was creating a new memory. The garage, once a shrine to yesterday, became their studio. Sophie brought her friends over, and soon Michael was teaching a small group of eager kids. The laughter, the music, the energy. It filled his house, chasing away the silence that had settled there for so long. Michael still treasured his memories, but they no longer held him captive. Instead, they inspired him to embrace the life he had left to live. The best moments weren't just behind him. They were happening right in front of him, in the strum of a guitar and the laughter of a new generation. And as he played alongside Sophie under the twinkling lights of a backyard party one summer evening, Michael realized something profound. Life wasn't about clinging to what was, but about finding the courage to keep playing, no matter how many strings had gone out of tune.